Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that was created for a gentleman that had a tough life, and mistakes that were made in his teenage and early adult years led to him spending in total about 20 years of his life incarcerated. And he had to put on certain, let's say, tough exterior to survive environments like that. But then the problem with spending so much time incarcerated, the function of the jail system, the prison system, is meant to have an element of restorative justice, but obviously to rehabilitate. Unfortunately, rarely does it do that. It doesn't equip people to then go back to society and go back to life. So some of the things that he had learned while in jail weren't necessarily conducive to normal everyday life. But he was a good person and wanted to do good things, but sometimes felt that he couldn't really be himself because for a long time he had to be someone else. And obviously he couldn't trust his judgment 100% as well. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is an element of really extracting the wisdom from moments of the past. There were two very significant moments. One when he was just a child, and then secondly, the events that led up to him being incarcerated for a long time. And that element of knowing what he now knows, what would he do different in terms of the incarceration, but what meaning could he give to a form of, let's say, call it abuse, some kind of undesirable thing that happened as a child. You can't really ask a child to do anything different because children are vulnerable. They can be exploited, but you can give a different meaning to it. So that's the early part of the session. The second part of the session is really to get a sense that he can start to trust himself again, to let go of the guilt and the shame, to turn the regrets into something that could be harnessed, to be empowering rather than disempowering, and to look at the resources that would have had to have been there in order to cope with the life that he's had, but using them in a useful way rather than an unuseful way. Obviously, this was created for a gentleman in very specific circumstances, but I think all of us can look at the past, give new meanings to moments in the past, to learn from moments of regret. None of us are perfect. We've all made mistakes, but we can learn from those mistakes, and to envision a future where you get to do and experience and live more of the life that you want, that is valuable to society and beneficial for the individual involved. We can all do that. So if you feel like you're still dealing with the aftermath of something traumatic, painful, or just a moment of regret from your past, and it's still haunting you now, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, Feel a wonderful feeling of release as when you breathe out, you release that tension in your outward breath. Breathing in and breathing out. That's it. I want you to scan your body for any clues that can come from an overactive sympathetic nervous system. That might be stress and tension. Some people would call it vigilance. Being on guard. But here in this moment, that's not necessary. So as you breathe in that resourceful relaxation, you can release that vigilance, release that tension, release any stress. That's it. And start to scan your body for any clues of where tension may be hiding. Sometimes it's in the obvious places, like the neck and the shoulders, the jaw, the forehead. So as you breathe in, just feel that tension is melting away and feel it leaving your body in your outward breath. But as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, also start to look in those rarer places. A tiny muscle on the back of your neck. Maybe there's tension in a finger or a toe. And the tiny muscles around your calf. As you breathe in and breathe out, give permission to release that tension. I want you to imagine floating outside of your body, keeping your physical body where it is, and imagine you're in the same room, but just not in your body anymore. Almost like you're a ghostly entity, no longer in your physical body. And being this ghostly entity means that you can pass through walls, float through a ceiling. And I want you to imagine that you are floating out of the room, making your way to a beach. Feel the sensation as you pass through physical objects like bricks, a roof. Feel a floating sensation as you float away, and allow your imagination to take you to a beach with no people, with white sand. And imagine that beach is on a sunny day. I want you to place yourself there on that white sandy beach, feeling like you're wearing whatever clothing is suitable to be on a beach on a sunny day. The waves are gentle, slowly breaking on the shore. I want you to see there isn't big choppy waves. Consider that your past. Here in this moment, see a still surface of the sea as it starts to represent the stillness of your mind. And I want you to imagine the most comfortable thing that could exist on that beach. It's your imagination. You get to decide. You could put a reclining chair on that beach, a big blanket, a hammock. You could put a ginormous bed if you want. But imagine the most comfortable thing that could exist for you there on that beach. And then place yourself on that blanket, that lounger, that bed or sofa. Imagine the sun on your face. And imagine staring out into the sea as you feel a wonderful feeling of relaxation. This is not reality. This is a beach in your imagination, giving you a safe place to allow new perspectives and changes to take place. And as you breathe in and breathe out, I'm going to count down from 5 to 1. And with each descending number, you will feel like you're drifting off deep into a trance-like state. A place where a combination of relaxation, but also the confusion that comes from being a place that isn't real, takes you to a place where decisions get made in this imaginary realm that can affect your actual reality. So make yourself comfortable there on that beach. And 5, just release any tension around your forehead, jaw, eyelids. That's it, just melt it all away, feel it leaving your body. 4, breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation and just allow any tension in your neck, shoulders, feel it disappear. Like when a wave hits the sand, you see the water for a few seconds and then it disappears into the sand. Feel like tension is doing that now, disappearing. As your neck and shoulders feel like a weight has been lifted off them. And then 3, just feel like your arms and legs there on that beach are just feeling so limp, loose and heavy. So relaxed. Imagine yawning on that beach, because a yawn has a powerful ability to release things like oxytocin, kind of things that make you feel cozy and relaxed. Even just imagining the idea of yawning can make you feel more drowsy and relaxed. That's it. And then 2, just imagine all of your internal organs relaxing at exactly the same time. Your heart, lungs, stomach, gut, diaphragm, all relax at exactly the same time, and that time is now. Releasing that tension. And then 1, feel like every cell in your body, from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, are just releasing tension now. As you feel a wonderful feeling of release. Keep that part of you relaxed on that beach. And then imagine floating up out of that version of you. And I want you to find a door on that beach. It doesn't have to be connected to a building, just a floating door. This is a portal into your deep unconscious mind. Imagine opening the door, walking down a spiral staircase into a room. And in that room, I want you to imagine a large screen, almost like a private cinema screen just for you, just one big chair and a screen. And just imagine you're now in that room. The sound of the waves seems to disappear, and now it's just you in a room with a big screen. A screen that can reveal moments from your past, that can allow wisdom and insight to not just be intellectual, to not just be understood, but to be a catalyst for change. Sometimes people think that nothing changes. It's impossible for things to stay exactly as they are. You're different now than the version of you a year ago. And that version of you is different from 5 years before that. You couldn't stay the same if you tried. Things are always changing. Sometimes they change for the better, and sometimes they change for the worse. And I wonder if we can extract wisdom and insight from your past to enable more of those useful changes. If you had a brand new car, you could make a change to that car by grabbing a sledgehammer and damaging the engine. But most people would agree that that is not a useful change. You could take that car and drive it into a brick wall. The shell of that car would change, the airbags would activate. The car has changed. But it's not a useful change. As you reflect on moments of what feel like self-sabotage or self-destruction, start perceiving them as evidence of change. Friendships change. Relationships change. You are constantly changing. And I wonder what would happen if there were more of those useful changes. That same car that you could drive into a brick wall, you could drive to see amazing views. Instead of damaging the engine, you could check the oil. You could optimize that engine to make it go even faster, make it even stronger than it was before. I want you to think that there is infinite possible changes that you could make. If you slept for just 10 minutes more, that's a change. If you drank just one extra glass of water, that's a change. If you decided to forgive yourself rather than criticize yourself, that's a change. So I want you to stare into this screen and go back to a memory perhaps when you were just 8 years old. You're there in that room, seeing a screen, but you know you're not back in the memory, you're just observing it, like you're watching a movie as what happened back then. I want you to see a vulnerable child that was taken advantage of. And as you look at it from this perspective, a different perspective in time and space, I want you to feel empathy for that 8-year-old version of you. I want you to see someone that should have known better do things they shouldn't have done. If there is any guilt, any shame, it lies not with the child, but with the perpetrator. I want you to observe exactly what happened, but like you're watching a movie about it. It doesn't feel like it's happening to you because it isn't. It's happening to a memory of you. And you're observing that memory of you with a sense of perspective. You can have sympathy for that child. You can care for that child. And if you could observe and see what happened exactly as it happened, all the best that your memory will allow, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine that it's maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour after what happened. The perpetrator, the cause of any kind of incident is no longer there. Just see yourself as an 8-year-old. And then in your current age, step into the screen and meet the 8-year-old version of you shortly after what happened. And I want you to give some context. an explanation, making sure they have no guilt, no shame, not even confusion. Tell them what you would have wanted to have heard back then, how you would have wanted to understand what happened. When you feel that you've said what's needed to be said, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine that the past does not define us, but it can shape us. And I want you to give some kind of empowering, positive meaning to what happened in that moment. It doesn't have to be positive thinking. It could be just useful insight. To believe that everyone in the world is good is not true. To believe that some people are there to exploit or take advantage, it's just a reality. But the empowering meaning could be that they can survive things they didn't choose, that life isn't fair, but they can get over it, that they are more resilient than they realize. But you decide what meaning to give to that moment that works for you and not against you. And if you've thought of a meaning, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to give that 8-year-old version of you a hug. Tell them that they are worthy, they are capable of great things, that they are smart and they are kind. Tell them that you trust them. Tell them that they are loved. Give them a hug, and then leave the screen and find yourself back in that room. And then I want you to go forwards in time, perhaps to a time that changed everything. I want you to go to a time that led to a chain reaction where you were incarcerated for a long time. Again, you're just watching this like you're watching a movie. You're not in your body, you're seeing yourself perhaps as a young adult. I want you to see a version of you with maybe insecurities, maybe a chip on their shoulder, maybe a sense of a desire to be significant. Whatever you notice, but I want you to notice all of the events leading up to what happened. I want you to see all of the moments, all of the opportunities there were to avoid something that happened that you later regretted. As you breathe in and breathe out, see it as it happened, all the way until a moment that things became irreversible. And then, with the power of your imagination, imagine reversing everything like you have a rewind button. See everything happening backwards. And knowing what you now know, I want you to see that younger version of you handling the same situation the way you would handle it now if you could relive that moment. Observe yourself at that age doing things differently. There's de-escalation rather than escalation. Different evaluations, different decisions, different choices. And I want you to see maybe 3 or 4, even 5 different scenarios, all of which could have led to you avoiding the chaos that happened. After each scenario, let me know by nodding your head. And then rewind it again and see a different scenario. I want you to see that there are choices, not just one way of dealing with this situation, but so many different ways, all of which would have been a huge improvement compared to what actually happened. See a scenario, nod your head, jump back to the beginning, see a different scenario. And when you find what looks like the best scenario, the best you could have done in that situation, let me know by nodding your head. Rewind it to the beginning and then step into that version of you. With all of your knowledge and experiences now, step into that younger version of you and live that same, perhaps evening, the way you would choose to if you were in that same situation now. Notice how you could avoid certain things. Things that happened didn't happen, as you feel like in a universe of infinite realities, there were so many realities where what happened didn't happen, and you're just experiencing one of those. And when your unconscious mind accepts that things are different now, let me know by nodding your head. So I want you to jump back into that chair in that room. As your mind is open to the possibility to forgiveness and to resources, because you are wiser now than you've ever been in your life. And sometimes on that screen you can see different scenarios and different realities that apply to your reality now. You have more options, more choices than you ever realized. And sometimes it's just useful to know that there is a choice. You are forgiving yourself for the past, embracing your present with compassion and understanding. You trust in your ability to make wise and beneficial decisions, knowing that you are different now, that you have grown and learned from every experience. With every challenge you face, you apply the wisdom you've gained, using it to navigate your path forward confidently. You don't have to be someone you're not. Just choose to be that wise version of you. That now that you know better, you can do better. As you think of moments of the past that required courage, you reactivate that courage inside you. It's rising up within you to step out and make changes that benefit not only yourself, but those around you. Realize that You can be strategic. Strategy is just thinking about how you want things to be and doing the things that make that happen. So you can use your strategic thinking to plan your steps effectively, ensuring that actions count towards a more useful, positive future. And don't underestimate your ability to deploy acts of kindness. No matter how small, every day you can find just one opportunity to show kindness, even if the kindness is kindness that you're showing to yourself. So whether you enhance the lives of others or enrich your own experience, know that kindness is a choice. And you can apply your intelligence to, rather than run away from problems, to solve problems, sometimes creatively, finding solutions that are beneficial for everyone involved. As you release the need to act impulsively and in the moment, sometimes the best thing you can do is to hold that thought, sit with an emotion of frustration and experience, and decide what to do later. Not everything requires an immediate response. If you're willing to release some of those impulsive needs, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. You know that given your experiences, given the lessons you've learned, given that empathy and compassion you have, that you are a valuable member of your community with the ability to contribute positively in ways that only you can. And you can use your experiences to empower and inspire others. Is it possible that through your life lessons, you could help just one person to avoid the pitfalls that you yourself fell down? If you feel that there is a place for you to positively impact others, let me know by nodding your head. And you can navigate your emotions with great skill. Rather than being a slave to your emotions, you could understand your feelings and use them, utilize them to guide your actions positively and usefully. Feel self-trust expanding within you, that you can trust yourself, that you can rely on your own judgments, but you can be discerning. Those impulsive, avoidant impulses that send you down dark alleyways, you can learn from those and empower those instincts to make good choices that improve the quality of your life. And you can build and maintain positive relationships. But realize that relationships are a two-way street. At any point in time, a friendship or relationship that isn't compatible or viable just requires a conversation. And if you feel that you have the capacity to have difficult conversations that could manage expectations and avoid hurt, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Notice that the more often you prioritize your health and wellness, the more you realize that a strong body and mind are your vehicle, the very vehicle that's going to take you to different places. I want you to see gambling as taking a risk with low odds of probability that things go well, and allow your unconscious mind to guide you towards different decisions with a better risk-reward ratio. More upside, less downside. It's fine to take risks. But I wonder if your life would improve taking risks that weren't gamble. And you can face challenges with resilience, knowing that each difficulty is an opportunity to prove your strength and determination. You could look at your past as evidence that you can deal with the most difficult situations and circumstances, almost like you have a superpower. How can these small things bother you when you've dealt with so much in your past? Because you now live a life of purpose, guided by your deepest values and driven by a desire to make a meaningful impact. I want you to imagine leaving that room, climbing up a spiral staircase, walking through a door, and finding yourself back out on a beach. See yourself there on something comfortable. Step into that version of you. Feel that these changes are integrating with a different part of you. And then feel that that part is floating up over the beach, like a ghostly entity floating all the way back to the present moment. All parts now reconnecting into your present moment as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect fully in the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.